Hey guys, I'm back. Long time no see. I just wanted to give you guys a little life update, let you know where I've been, let you know what I've read so far in the month of August. And my list might not be an all inclusive list because I might be able to read one or two more books by the end of the year, but I wanted to give you guys something. So, my life. It's been pretty busy this summer, for one, just because I like to go out and do stuff during the summer, and when it's the weekends and it's nice, me and my husband like to go out and do stuff and enjoy the weather while we can. And I got my braces off. So that was the first thing. And I have also been volunteering at my local Humane Society. I am passionate about animals, and I had been wanting to do something in regards to animals for a very, very long time, and I just never have been able to, never got around to it. And then finally I was like, you know what, I'm gonna go to the orientation. I am gonna try this and see. And so I've been doing that a few times a week, and I absolutely love it. Since last month, the beginning of last month, me and my husband have had a friend living with us. She's going through some really personal problems, personal stuff right now. I'm not going to get into it because it's not my story to tell, it's hers. But pretty much she can't live at her home, so she's living with us. So we have a roommate. I have to work around her schedule when she comes home from work and when I'm not at the Humane Society. And yeah, and then a few weeks ago, earlier this month, one of my really close friends from California came to visit me with her fiance. They'd never been to Washington State before, and so I just was with them, took them around Seattle, and we just went out and had some fun. She was around constantly for 2 days. We've had a lot of stuff going on. So I didn't read much in July. After looking on my Goodreads, I was really surprised because I thought I had read some books in July, and apparently I didn't. And I know that was a reason why, because that was crazy with trying to figure everything out with our friend and then volunteering a couple days a week and stuff like that. So I had started a few books, but I didn't end up finishing any. So I have already read 5 books in August, though. I'm trying to kind of pick up. I know that's not a lot, but I have been kind of, I guess, in a slump because of everything that's been happening and going out on the weekends and enjoying the nice weather and stuff, and kind of ramping up for the rainy season and when it'll start getting a lot colder and I will be inside reading a lot more. So I'll just jump right into the first book I read in August was The Cuckoo's Calling by Robert Galbraith, aka J.K. Rowling. I read this as a buddy read with Janie from Bookworms Buddy. We were supposed to read it in July, and I started it in July, but because of everything that happened, I didn't get a chance to finish it until August, and she finished it in July like we were supposed to. So, but we were still able to talk about it and stuff, and it was my first buddy read, and it was awesome, and I really enjoyed it. But the book is a mystery novel, an adult mystery novel, so it's completely different, on a different spectrum from Harry Potter. But it was still good. I gave it 4 stars. I had a few issues with it, but overall it was good. I had to separate myself from the fact that it was JK, but it wasn't Harry Potter. I kind of associate those in my head, and I know that that's not really fair to the book because it's a completely different genre, but it was kind of hard for me to do that while I was reading it, so I didn't enjoy it as much while I was reading it as I should have, and then after I finished it, I kind of pulled myself away and said, wait a minute, this is a good book on its own. It's a good book for the mystery genre, and so I gave it 4 stars. Next book I read in August was Revival by Stephen King. I also gave this one 4 stars, and I started this in July. I actually started this before The Cuckoo's Calling, and I got about halfway, and then I decided, I'm getting to almost to the middle of the month. I need to start The Cuckoo's Calling so to make sure I can finish it. So I completely just dedicated my time to Cuckoo's Calling, and I still didn't finish the book on time. But I would have read this book in a couple of days if I didn't stop to put it down. It was really good. It was kind of slow paced. Not my favorite of his, but it was really good. I was surprised because it kind of took a long time to get to the plot and to get to the whole point of the story. But for this book, that worked. That was okay because there was a lot of character buildup, and that was really important and necessary for the story. We got to know who the characters were, why they were the way they were, how they felt about situations. Stephen King has always been a fantastic writer, and his characters always are just amazing and they come to life. That's one of his strongest suits, is his, at least in my opinion, is his character development and the way that he fleshes these characters out and makes you feel something for them. This one, it was a lot more prominent than many of his other books because of how much buildup there was until the very end of the book, when the plot became relevant and the ending was really creepy. So, really good. The next book I read was Forgive Me, Leonard Peacock by Matthew Quick. And again, I gave this book 4 stars. There's kind of a pattern going on here. So this and another book were my favorites so far of the month. This is about a boy who on his 18th birthday decides that he's going to kill himself and his best friend. And it's a story about that last day of his life. He goes to high school like normal. He gives the people that are closest to him presents, 5 people presents, and people are kind of wondering what's going on. He doesn't get any presents for his birthday. Instead, he gives the presents out. And it's just about that journey and what happens, how he goes about living that last day of his life. And it's a really good book. I've never read anything by Matthew Quick before. I haven't read The Silver Linings Playbook because I watched the movie and it was stupid. I hated it. So I don't really have any desire to read the book. But if he has any other books out, I want to read those. I really like his writing. It's really fast-paced and quick and engulfs you in the story and enthralls you and makes you not want to put the book down. I think I read this in like 2 days. This is a good book. There's some trigger warnings in it, but if you can handle some trigger warnings for suicide, obviously, then I would definitely recommend this book. It's awesome. The next book I read, which was the only book of the month that I did not really enjoy, that was The Star Won't Go Out by Esther Earl. And I had a lot of expectations for this book. I've heard a lot about it, and it's about a 16-year-old girl who died of cancer, and it's a collection of her stories. You can see there's a letter to her parents, and there's some drawings. She made some internet friends. Some of the pages to identify that it's her parents speaking on a blog post are pink. And then there's also some green pages, which are somebody else writing in there. I really like the concept of how everything was colorful. They threw some pictures in to break it up. They copied some of her handwritten stuff. But it just wasn't that great. And I know that sounds horrible to say because she's a girl with cancer and she died. And don't get me wrong, I mean, that's a heartbreaking thing to have to go through. I've had some family members die of cancer, and I know how that feels for the people left behind. But I just don't see why she got a book made about her, other than the fact that she became friends with John Green because she met him at a Harry Potter convention, and he was struck by her story of having cancer and became really good friends, and he dedicated Tifios to her. I just don't get it. This is going to sound horrible. She didn't do anything really extraordinary with her life. I mean, she is only 16, like, I'm not expecting a lot, but I just want to know what made her so special that she got a book. But, you know, these kids that are at St. Jude's that are in pain every single day, that have to stay in the hospital because they don't even get to go home and be with their parents most of the time. They die in the hospital, and they're younger, like 8, 9, sometimes even younger. Why don't those kids get any recognition and become known beyond the people that knew them, their family and friends? This girl didn't do anything to become known beyond her family, really, for her story to be published and for the whole world to know about her. I don't think that she did anything different from an 8-year-old who's in St. Jude or something along those lines. It was just the same thing. She never really said anything beyond what she had already said. It was just kind of repetitive, the same stuff over and over, her parents updating everybody. But because this is all so old and she's gone now, it didn't really have an impact on me. I'm sorry, I know that might be horrible to say, but that's my opinion, so don't hate me. Alright, The last book so far that I read, and probably my favorite, it's a close tie between this and Leonard Peacock. That is Where'd You Go, Bernadette by Maria Semple. And I was actually really pleasantly surprised with this. This is a lot better than I thought it was going to be. This lady in Seattle pretty much just goes missing one day. This is the story of her told in her daughter Bee's perspective. Part epistolary novel, part just normal novel, because it's also told in emails and texts and letters and correspondence. Everything that's in here leads up to what had happened to her. I gave this a 4.5 star. The only reason I didn't give it a 5 was because of the ending. I felt like a couple pages could have been added to the ending to explain a little bit more. It ended with a letter, and I felt like Bee, which was Bernadette's daughter, could have spent a little bit more time explaining what had happened, what that letter meant exactly, and it's kind of hard to explain without giving it away. But even just a couple more pages, even just 2 or 3 more pages would have been a little bit more complete and more satisfying, because we would have gotten a few more answered. But it was still really good nonetheless. I would definitely recommend this book. It's a funny read. It's a quick read. It's a really funny, cute, contemporary, light read. And if that's the book that you're looking for, I would definitely recommend it. Alright guys, that's it for now. Let me know if you've read any of these, or if you want to read any of these, let me know down below. And I'll talk to you guys later. Bye!